Grand Rising family, Grand Rising, Grand Rising. I've heard this same thing a couple days in a row. And literally I'm in the middle of just doing something totally different right now. And just out of nowhere, Spirit was like, this is what we're doing right now. Okay. Because what it is it's something very important that a lot of people don't even think about. So there are people out there who motivate you. There are people out there that inspire you. If there's not, you should definitely find one. Find someone who inspires you, who motivates you. But let me ask you something. When you find someone that motivates you, what are you doing with that motivation? Now we can all sit around after we hear someone who motivates us and just be motivated. But be motivated to do what? What are you doing with the information that you're getting? What are you doing to apply it to your life to make it your own? What are you doing? Because if you're not applying the lessons that you learned or keys and jewels that you picked up and what's motivating you, what are you doing it for? Like, why are you listening to motivating things if it's not motivating you to do something? See, the key to all of that is it's not worth anything if you're not doing anything with it. If you're not doing anything with the information, if you're not getting some kind of inspiration and doing some kind of work, if you're not doing some kind of work because you got motivated, if it's not moving you to do something, then you're not motivated enough. You're not in it enough. That person may not be at the frequency you want to ignite that something in you. If you are not moved to do something, to empower yourself after listening to someone that motivates you, after watching something that motivates you, you're doing yourself a disservice. You're doing yourself a disservice. At some point in time, you have to put action to the plan. Literally, at some point in time, you have to put action to the plan. If you spend all your time being motivated by somebody and you're still sitting around, you're still complaining, you're doing something just to be doing something because someone else is doing it. If nothing moves in you to start putting action towards what you've heard, if you're not even really thinking on how you can put action to what you heard, what are you listening to it for? We all like to hear about how other people were motivated, and that's fine. Nothing is wrong with that. But what are you taking with that information? Or are you just listening to people all day who are motivated? Are you just listening to people who talk about the results of their motivation? Are you just listening to people who tell you how to move and how to inspire yourself? Are you literally just all day long you're just listening? You're just listening. You're not doing anything. You're not putting in the work for yourself. You're not putting in the footwork. So what are you doing it for? Being motivated isn't a trend. It's not a trend. Being inspired isn't a trend. Being motivated and inspired is part of the journey because you start moving in that. You start moving in that. You take that understanding that you're getting to it and you apply it to your life. You think about how you can apply it to your life. You're sitting with spirit. You're sitting with your intuition to see how this is applying to you. How come you feel like this resonates with you? And then you apply it to your life. You apply the message to your life. And the message that you get may not be the same message as everybody else. It may not even be the message of the motivation that you hear, but it's the message the Spirit wanted you to hear. So what are you doing with that information? Like, what are you doing? Are you using that information to get more knowledge so you can better yourself? Or are you just listening to the information to buy your time? There's nothing wrong with finding things to uplift you when you feel down. The question is, are you uplifted? And how are you moving when you get uplifted? What are you doing? The main point of it all is, what are you doing with the information that you get? You're not motivated or inspired if you're not doing anything with that motivation or inspiration. You're not. You can tell people all day you are, but you're not, because you're not doing anything with that inspiration. You're not doing anything with that motivation. You can hear, example, you can hear people talk about a vision board and writing down what they want and reading it every day. You can listen to that all day long, every single day, for years. Write the vision, make it plain. Whoever sees it shall come to it. You've been listening to that, you've been hearing that, and you're like, yeah, that makes sense, but have you done that? Have you? Have you? Like, that's a great example. You're hearing about people, how they got inspired and motivated by just doing something simple as that. But you're uninspired and unmotivated until you hear somebody else talk about how they were inspired and motivated. They're talking about how they did a vision board, and for years you're just listening to them talk about it. Have you done it? Any part of it. Any part of it. You don't have to do the whole thing in the message that you're getting. You don't have to do the whole thing of what's motivating you to be doing something. Decide to move in the motivation, move in the inspiration. Even if it's journaling something down on how it moved, inspired, or motivated you, is a step in the right direction, because that leads to action. Because it's already in action. Don't let the message you receive be lost because you decided not to act on it. You just, yeah, I get the message, that's a great idea, or ooh, that feels good, and then you're just there, sitting there. You didn't think about this message and how it applies to you, or what you can do to get to that which that they're talking about in the message. You're inspired to go out and do something, but you don't want to do it because you don't feel like going outside today. You got shit to do. When you find something that makes you sing on the inside, you'll find time to do it. If you're really inspired and motivated to do something, you'll find time to do it. Because time is always available to you, and then there's no time at all. There is time always available to you and there's no time at all. What does that mean? You always have time to change. You always have time to do something in your motivation and your inspiration. But understand, time isn't there to be your friend. The longer that you wait in an inspiration or a motivation, it's like the more you're closing the window on the strength of that motivation or inspiration. When you feel something strong and you don't move in that, like it feels so good in your spirit and you're not moving in that in any kind of action, what you're starting to do is you're starting to tell spirit you just want to block that off. You're building up a brick wall against that feeling that's inspiring you to do something more than what you're used to, something more than what's in your comfort zone, something more than what you're used to, because what you're used to is what's of this world. That's what you're used to. But we can't keep doing what we were used to doing. Because if we keep doing what we were used to doing, we're ceasing to grow. That's why you're listening to something that motivates you, right? That's why you listen to something that inspires you, right? Because you want to ignite some kind of fire, and so you can move. You don't want to feel like what you're thinking is alone. You don't want to feel like, okay, I'm sitting in this and I don't know what to do. The purpose of people motivating, the purpose of people inspiring is to get you to move yourself. You should never depend on anyone else to motivate and inspire you if you're not willing to give that to yourself. Because what you're doing is you're relying on someone else to run your life. You're relying on someone else to tell you how to feel. You're relying on someone else to tell you what keeps you motivated. You know what keeps you motivated. You may listen to a motivational speaker. You may listen to an inspiring webinar or podcast, but what are you doing with that motivation? What are you doing with that inspiration? It should ignite something in you that makes you move in your own motivation, in your own inspiration. Don't squander the information that you get just because you don't feel like you can or you're not in the right place. No matter where you are, you can alter that situation that you're in just by simply moving at least a little bit in whatever's motivating you or inspiring you. You'd be surprised at the changes that can be made just by simply journaling every day. It'll blow your mind just by simply journaling every day. You don't know what to write? And I've done this. I have literally written, I do not know what to write. And then all of a sudden, I'm flipping the next page and I'm writing. But I did have something to write. There is something always sitting on your spirit. There is something always sitting on your heart. There is something always sitting on your being that is waiting for you to light that match, light that fire, and move in that. And sometimes it's easier said than done. But damn, get a pen and a piece of paper. Hell, if you don't have a pen and piece of paper, hit me up. I'll hook you up. If it'll help you get to where you need to be, I'll send you a pen and a pencil and some paper. Brand new. If that's what you need, you got to start somewhere. And just listening to people talk, yeah, that's somewhere, but that's also something that you're not doing. You're not letting yourself get motivated. You're not letting yourself be inspired, because if you are, you're going to put some kind of action to what you're hearing. At least a little bit. Because you keep hearing it and it's going to resonate with you, or it's not going to resonate with you. You're going to want something more. Do something with that information that you're getting. It's not just supposed to sit there and feel like it's resonating with you and you do nothing with it. There's a reason it's resonating with you. There's a reason why you feel like it's your message. Because it is. What are you doing with it? Even if you write down, I don't know if this message is for me, you'll be surprised that after that you'll figure out if that message is for you or not, just because of what you wrote down. And your intuition, your spirit, will give you discernment. That's your spiritual discernment. You'll know what resonates with you, what does not. And you may hear something one day and it not resonate with you, and then by happenstance you hear it again at a later time and then it resonates with you. That's because you're at a different level than when you heard it the first time. Because you started putting in work. You started thinking about it, and you started at least journaling. Actions are deposits in your spiritual bank. And I keep talking about this because it's something that I hope you understand. I want you to understand that everything that you do to grow yourself is a deposit in this spiritual bank. And if you don't think that you make withdrawals, you do. You do. I hope I get this. If you pray when you pray, you set up to make a withdrawal. When you're all of a sudden when you get something out the blue, or someone gifts you something that you weren't expecting, those are withdrawals. Because you've made so many deposits. If you want to, you can kind of look at it like karma. What you give out is what you get back. It's the same thing. If you're listening to motivational speakers and inspirational speakers, you're taking all this information in, but what are you giving out with that information? Are you sharing that information in your own special way? Because when you use something that uplifts you to uplift you, and then you move in that, you're uplifting other people in your own way. Because everyone has a purpose for something here. Everyone is at different levels on their journey. And someone along some route on their journey is going to need the information that you have. So if you're just sitting there and you're just listening all day, you're not doing anything, you're not writing it down, you're stagnating yourself. You're staying at the same spot. You're not moving. You're not moving. Now, what happens to, you're like a beet, right? You're like a beat. You're a frequency. Keep your frequency moving, because when you're just sitting there not doing anything with how you feel about being motivated, moving in the inspiration, what you're sitting there is you're flatlining yourself. You're letting the messages and the downloads and everything the Spirit has for you die with you. Why? Why? Because you're scared of what you can be? Because you're scared of what you can do? Why? Spirit doesn't let you hear things, gets you motivated in things. Spirit doesn't find things to inspire you for nothing. And I guarantee you, when you hear a message, there's a reason why you're hearing the message. Spirit has literally had me look up people who I've never even heard of. I just get a piece of name and I'll look them up. And I'm like, I don't even know what this is about. I'll see the people that they are, and I'm like, this ain't even my role, Spirit, but you're leading me to this for something. Let me see where this is going. And then I get the message. Then I get the download. Then I get the revelation. What do I do with that? I write it down. I ask myself, how does this apply to me, and what can I do so I can make that application bigger than me? What you do with the information that you receive in the inspiration, in the motivation, what you do with that is a vital part of your journey. Spiritual deposits. It's getting yourself out of the holding pattern. Like planes when they fly, and they're like flying over an airport because they can't land, they're in a holding pattern, or they're flying in one particular area, they're in a hold pattern. They can't go anywhere right there. Don't put yourself in a hold pattern. Put some kind of action to it, because everything starts with one action, one thing. And don't be afraid to do that one thing, because no one's asking you to do that one thing out in public, because it's what you're doing for yourself. In the dark, it's how it gets seen to the public. Be motivated. Be inspired. Please. Please be motivated. Please. Please be inspired. You don't have to be motivated or inspired by me, but find somebody who does. Find somebody who gives you chills like, ooh, I like what you're talking about. Ooh, that resonated with me. Ooh, that captured my attention. Let me see where this is going. Because you'd be surprised if something that's said that captures your attention might be something that you need to listen to, because there's a reason it captured your attention. Move in that information. Do something with it. Because if you're not doing anything with it, what are you doing it for? Like, let's just be real. You're wasting your time. If you're not doing anything with it, why are you wasting your time? And then that's when time you think is short. Well, if you're not doing anything that's moving or inspired you, you're going to always think time is short. You won't think that you have time to do anything. There's so many levels in this. I can't even. There's levels in that all by itself, and I can't even go into it right now. Spirit says I'm not going into that right now, so I'm not going into that right now. But do something in your motivation. Do something in your inspiration. Propel yourself forward any way that you can with the information that you have. And sometimes that propulsion starts with a writing utensil and a piece of paper. If you need that, let me know, because it starts somewhere. Do something. I cannot say that enough. Do something with the motivation stuff that you hear. Do something with what inspires you. Do something with what resonates with you. Because there's a reason for that. There's a reason you're hearing the message. There's a reason why you feel motivated. There's a reason why you're inspired. There's a reason why certain things make you feel certain ways. There's a reason for that. Don't squander that reason by doing nothing. That's the worst thing you can do. That's the worst thing you can do. Keep moving, family. Keep moving. I love y'all. Spirit said that I'm done, so I am done. I'm going to get back to what I was doing. Peace.